This is Naruto Storm Connections ranked mode, and this Naruto player is on a 31 game win streak. Now, I played this guy multiple times. We're going to talk about a lot of things because I think we're finally there. We're going to be talking about this Naruto game, Naruto Storm Connections. We're going to be talking about the online ranked mode. We're going to be talking about rage quitting. We're going to be talking about leaving the match before it's over. We're going to be talking about leaving the match after it's over. We're going to be talking about the one-sided teeter-totter leg that more and more people are starting to understand has been there since Storm 2. Although, as the games got more complex, I would say like in Storm 4 and Storm Connections, the last two games, it does it a lot more. It's even worse than it was before. Maybe it's because of leader switching, maybe because there's a lot more going on. That's fine. We're going to be talking about how this is a yellow bar, yes, and not a blue bar up in the top left corner where Kiba is, right? But it's still playable. It's not that bad. Sometimes yellow bars lie and sometimes blue bars lie. Often, actually. So let's get into all of this. I want you to understand that in about maybe 2 hours of playing, where I had about 10 games or so, 4 or 5 of those games, people rage quit on me. So half of the games, people rage quit on me. And one of the games was so bad that I actually did lose one game, but it was a fake loss. So it doesn't count. I would have won, right? And that's very easy to believe this when every other fight, I was absolutely destroying my opponent, right? And you can actually, this is why we're going to go through all of this, okay? To understand like the day in the life of a Naruto Storm player or someone who plays ranked. It's not like it used to be in Storm 3 or in Generations or in Storm 2, okay? Or even in Revolutions or Storm 4 even. It's completely different because of skill-based matchmaking, right? MMR matchmaking ratings. There's a hidden rating where you cannot search for people, you get matched up with people. So of course the game is going to match me up with someone with like a 31 game win streak because I am a more skilled player than most players. Not to be cocky or anything like that, it is what it is. Look at this. This is no lag. Watch what I'm doing to this guy with no lag. This is insanity. So it's cool. I think the first game or two this guy never left. He left afterwards. So he kept his win streak and he avoided the penalty of losing battle points by leaving at the end of the match, but before you press X. It's a trick that you can do. Everybody's doing it. It's very easy to do. You could do it in Storm 4. People didn't know. People could do this. For me, if I lose, whether I'm on, a no win streak, a 10 win streak, a 99 game win streak, I don't care. If I lose, I accept it. I don't just, imagine that I didn't lose, right? And I know all the signs of what is laggy and what is not laggy, so I can do that. But most people, they have no clue what the signs are. They have no clue if they were in a real fight or not. And I can even look at the other person and see if they were lagging or not to a pretty accurate degree if I go back and watch the video. So that's the misconception that people have. They think that, oh, you just say the word lag and then somehow it's, you have a justification to leave the match or keep your BP. No, there's literally a science to it. You can literally see if the person was lagging or not. But that does kind of hinge on whether the fact that the person is honest or not. But for the most part, I think honesty is pretty important to me, and I try to deal with those values. I try to have honor. I also tried to win. Like, I don't know. I don't think you've ever even seen me. If you have, it's maybe once or twice, but probably 0 times. I'm not the type of guy that says like, oh, I'm using weaker teams, so it's an excuse why I lost. I purposely use 2-man teams. I purposely use middle of the road characters, middleweight characters, non-S tier characters, right? I use weaker teams that are more skill based, that have high synergy team multipliers, that have really fun teamwork. I like the skill based stuff. And when I lose, I never say, oh, it's because you're using the meta. I think there's always a way to beat the meta for the most part. Sometimes it's really hard and sometimes it's an uphill battle. But if I'm always winning against that. Like I found a way to win, to always win. As long as the connection is good, it doesn't matter who the person is. I can beat anybody in the world that plays these games. I can't beat them on a whim. I can't guarantee that I can beat them. Anyone can get hit. Anyone can get the center of their energy split. There's no one that's strong enough to never lose ever. Every single person can lose at least once. Every single person can lose unexpectedly because there's so many variables that you don't know. So you have to always respect your opponent if but that's where honesty, respect, um, honor come in, pride, positive pride, positive ego. Everyone talks about ego like it's a bad thing. Everyone has an ego. You can't live without an ego. Um, if you don't have an ego, then you literally have no purpose in life because you have no desires to do anything. And everyone should be trying to accomplish something, but in a way where hopefully we respect each other and respect our opponents. But this community is so it's like void of a soul. It's not just the game; it's the community is also void of a soul. It's really gross. It's horrible to see. And of course, this is I don't have to I can say it because as far as I can see, it's factually true, is that this is probably the highest level Storm Connections Raikage gameplay on the internet, right? If we look at this entire video, if you don't just stop watching, and you look at the whole thing, you can learn so much. If you're a Raikage, and I say that not because, hey, look at me, I'm great, but this is the beauty of the game. The games can be beautiful, and there shouldn't just be me out here doing this. There should be 100 Raikage players. 200, 300 Raikage players doing the same thing because you can all learn to do this. That's a big part of this channel and what I do here. And as you can see, he still has the 31 game win streak. If that part wasn't clear to you ever, if you ever watched my videos, and if that part of inspiration, right, is that, hey, I can do it so you can do it too, because I'm actually not that special. In terms of Storm games, sure, and even in Overwatch, look at this. It's just a complete download. Like, he just doesn't know what he's doing. I did bag resets there. I did double counter, punishing the people that don't know how to pursue properly. I did a jail guard break into a lightning stretto because it's the coolest thing ever when he does that. By the way, this guy is really good. His Neji trigram spins, his jutsu that he does so many good things there. But like, dude, we know the game. We've been practicing more and we're just better. Like, no, we're not saying it, right? The problem with this community is they say things like, I'm better than you, or you're gaslighting me, or whatever. They use the words, right? Like even lag, right? They use the words, but they don't actually know what it means. And if you said right there, you're going to get offended because you're like, how can I know what that means? Because it means, the word means different things to different people. You have to look at the word, whatever the word is, holistically. You have to look at it from both people's perspective. I'm not too happy with this guy leaving on me, right? So it is what it is, but he's left on me here before. We'll see what happens. Okay, the problem here is I've had people do this to me, right? Oh, there's a combo to ultimate. Perfect. Where they see I'm on a win streak and that I leave at the end of the fight and I don't give them the win streak. And that is because, from my perspective, not only did they not deserve the win streak, right? I didn't lose the fight because it was a laggy fight. I could have lost the fight. We don't know 100%, but most likely I'm at the point now where I can tell if I would have won or lost the fight with my skill level and with my knowledge of the game. That's something that people do not understand. And the only way that you would understand that is if you played me when there is like very little to no lag and I went all out, which I didn't even used to do, but now I'm going more and more all out because I've had enough of people. I've had enough of their lies. I've had enough of the craziness, the twisted dementedness in the community, the fakeness, the evil. It's actually just pure evil. Pretending to be good, pretending to, just justify things. Like, it's wrong, right? And look, I don't want any negativity to come to this individual. Don't message them. Shaming them won't work. The thing that is really going to hurt them, and you're not going to believe this, but the thing that hurts them the most is not any of that, okay? It's that they are not getting stronger. They're getting weak. Yes, at some level they're strong, but because they can't accept the real loss, at least one or two of these had to be real losses, which means he should have let the streak up, which is something that I do. Last night I was on like an 80-something game win streak, a real 80-something game win streak from my perspective, right? Where not a single person beat me for 80 games. There maybe was one or two games where I lost, where it was so severely lagging on my end, and you can clearly see that the other person has no lag. I gave those people the BP because I don't want to leave, because that's the worst case scenario, is to leave in the middle of the match because you waste everybody's time. Do you understand that concept? That you play for the entire night. Like all these fights you're going to watch here, half of these fights people left on me, wasting both of our time, right? And they're selfishly keeping their BP while I'm not getting the BP for my time when I won. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? Is that when you, showing up to a shift at work and then getting paid $0 for the day. In this case, it would be taking half of a cut on the paycheck. Do you understand? That's really what it comes down to. And in the end, it's like, what am I doing here? There's actually technique with this Raikage and this team. There's resets. There's, punishing bad movement, bad positioning, all this types of stuff. And it's stuff that we should all be learning instead of just pretending that we're better than we are. Do you understand? Like, even myself, I have a lot to learn. Like, if I'm the best Raikage player today, or Minato player today, or Minato player, a better example, if I was the best Minato player 6 months ago when you guys saw the ranked fights, apparently the world actually does think that. Regardless of what people say who is or isn't the best Minato player, the statistics show, and the views show, that most people in the world thought that my Minato was either something like a Grandmaster Minato player, or the best, literally the best Storm Connections Minato player for the time. But today, 8 months later, I might be the 10th best, or the 100th best. I might not actually be the best, and that's great. That's what I want to see. I want to see other people getting better. But I still might be the best, you just don't know, because maybe I haven't shown you. Now, another thing is, everyone knows I play Minato, everyone knows I play Itachi, and now Raikage, both of them, both him and his father. But you don't know that I'm actually, first and foremost, a Storm 2, Storm 3 Kakashi main. Storm 2 Generation, Storm 3 Kakashi main. This is definitely one of my best characters, but he's different in every game. I mean, I don't know if he's even that good in this game. I just love him. He's definitely good in Storm 4, one of my mains. Wow, combo to ultimate, cool. I like to try to inspire, right? In the past, look, I'm saying the silent part out loud nowadays because everything after the the events of the last few years, we're not going to talk about it with isolation and all that, right? My channel got shadow banned when I talked about these things 4 years ago. And I've been having a hard time trying to get subscribers and to get views because a lot of the stuff that should be recommended is not recommended. Now, a lot of you might see my channel successful and all that, but imagine that instead of 3,000, we had 6 or 9,000 or 12 or 20,000 subscribers. Even 50,000 subscribers, it would be possible. But when you're shadow banned, that's it. Your channel is really dead and you don't even know it. And a lot of people's channels are dead and they get shadow banned for different reasons. We don't talk about that. And then the other thing is that the big channels always get the priority over you. That's just how the system works. So as much as you like the bigger channels, and I like the bigger channels too, I'm not trying to say don't like them. But the reality of the situation is that because big channels exist, if there's already a space for it, you're probably never or almost never or not, you're unlikely to actually get anywhere there with it, right? I try to just, again, another rage quit, okay? All right, so right here is a good example, okay, of this laggy fight the only fight that I lost. Right there, watch this. Did you see that movement right there? In a non-laggy game or a playable game, I would never have that interaction where I just fall like that. And right here, look at this. I comboed to ultimate, or I did a jitsu to win the game, to waste that sub as it was coming back. But because it's so laggy, because the game is so fake, this is just the end. This happened many times during the fight, where I have already won the game if there was inputs. Like, if there was proper inputs, right, where the game didn't eat my attack input, or my jitsu, or my ultimate jitsu input. And look, all I can do is mindlessly mash. Do you see how bad I look there? It's because there's no frames. Like, I'm playing in 30 frames per second, right? And so is he. But we're literally, with this game being how it is, it's probably like 12 to 19 frames per second. Maybe less. Maybe it went down to 9. For those of you that don't understand this, in the Dragon Ball Fighter Z, right, game, or DBZ Fighters, you can see the frame rate in real time going up and down. We need that in this game, by the way. But, you can see it. You don't actually need it, but we need it for so that there's no like discrepancy. Now, the same thing happened now, but to the other person. Unfortunately, like I think I probably would have won anyways, right? Because I don't really see too much skill there or a really great team. But you never know. He could have won. That last guy definitely had a leg. This is another thing. So like that was like technically BP I didn't earn in that last one. And then the one before that was BP that I didn't deserve to lose because I probably even deserved to win that, most likely. I'm about a 95% sure on that. Now, this one is like, oh, Fear, you didn't wait for him. You're not a nice person. Can I tell you something? In Storm 2, Generations, and Storm 3, I don't think, I don't even remember people ever not being ready. It may have happened once or twice, but this happens a few times a night where people just stand there. You know why? Because we're living in a social media era. We're living in a era of TikTok and Twitter and all this stuff, and people literally listening to podcasts and doing other things, and they're not actually paying attention to the fight. They're not respecting the fight, and then they get slapped and destroyed, and they want to blame everything else. Like a lot of these people do have skills. Like this guy, it's Tubby or whatever, this PTS Shikamaru player. He's actually pretty skilled. But this particular fight was a weird kind of lag, even though it was a blue bar, and I didn't want to play it. I felt very uncomfortable. Even though I was winning, I felt very uncomfortable playing this, and I didn't want to play him again. And he might get upset that I didn't give him the rematch. But like for me, I mean, this is not... I would skill quit on this guy, because this is the type of fight where I know you're like trying to play like a meta/pro player type of style, and I hate that. Most of the time, right? Not because I hate it, but because I find it boring. Do you understand? It's not a hate for the style. It's not a hate for the mechanics. It's me being bored out of my mind because look what happens. Like, the only way that I'm going to actually enjoy these rank fights is if I see someone else playing in a meaningful way. Even if they are playing meta, that's fine. You got to play in a meaningful way. And a lot of that comes from the person. A lot of that comes and stems from the person. And I can kind of feel that. You know how Naruto and Sasuke, when they attacked each other in the Great Valley or whatever, they could feel the fighting spirit. I can feel that. Now this guy, don't be upset at these people. They don't know any better. But the problem is, all these people need to stop doing what they're doing because they just ruined the community. They killed the community. They did. All of these people, and not just these people, but everyone that does these things, they kill the community. You might have a good reason for it, but it doesn't matter. You've still killed the community. That was a great move, by the way. He earned this. I made a mistake, and this was phenomenal. If you're still watching, I'm praising this guy, even though every time he's never beat me. I beat him every time I played him. I murdered him the last few times. He rage quit the last 2 times, and he's going to rage quit again. Because that's what he does. He can't accept the loss. These Naruto players can't accept the loss. They don't want to learn. They think that they're better than you. They all think they're top 50, top 100 players, top 500 players, when they're not even close. When you really play a top 50 player, a top 20 player, a top 30 player, guys, it blows your mind. They're much better than you realize. Even I'm telling you that. You really need to practice. Practice, 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 because they practice. They spend all their time doing it. All the free time that they can, anyways, right? And it's not easy. And here it is. We made a comeback, and it's hard, right? It's hard for him to handle. I'm not disrespecting him, I'm just waiting. I just like to think, reset my mental stack, right? If you don't know what that is, we can talk about that, but it's essentially like a RAM processor in a computer. You can only process so much stuff. And one of the best ways to just refresh and do better is to just chill out and reset that mental stack. Find moments like action sequences like grabs or jutsus to reset that mental stack. Oh, the ones that are still listening, after all this time, the loyal subscribers, followers, Fearless Shinobi, yeah, I haven't called you that in a long time. You guys are getting the nuggets of information that will make you super strong. Okay? Now, that was actually a missed input, which tends to happen in certain situations. It's like, the game has its own mental stack, right? But here you can see it's just a download here. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So make sure to do those grab animations and the jutsu animations or ultimate jutsu animations, and think about, or the time in between games, use it to think about the loading screen at the beginning. Instead of being on Twitch or Twitter or whatever, or, all those things, use that time to think about how will the game play out. Do some shadow boxing. See, how can I beat this opponent? What does the matchup look like before we play? You might actually not, you will have an advantage and you will do better over time if you practice these habits, these secret tips and tricks on how to play and win in Naruto Storm games. I hope you have a fantastic day, an amazing day. If not, I hope it gets better for you soon. Peace.